Welcome to Vantage Aditya. Empires do not collapse because of enemies. They collapse because leaders refuse to see what has already changed. Tonight, we revisit the fall of one of the greatest cities in human history. A city that stood unconquered for over 1,000 years. A city protected by walls no army had ever breached. A city so confident in its past victories that it mistook tradition for protection. This is the fall of Constantinople. And this is the leadership lesson hidden inside it. Blind spots destroy empires long before enemies arrive. The city that believed it was untouchable. Constantinople was not just a city. It was an idea. It was the beating heart of the Byzantine Empire, guarded by massive stone walls that had resisted siege after siege. These walls were engineering marvels, layered, reinforced, and legendary. For centuries, attackers came and failed. And with every failure, the city's confidence grew. Leaders inside Constantinople began to believe something dangerous. They believed that what had worked yesterday would protect them tomorrow. They believed the walls were destiny. They believed tradition was strength. Modern leaders fall into this same illusion. A company dominates its market for decades and assumes customers will remain loyal forever. A leader succeeds with one strategy and keeps repeating it even when the environment changes. An institution grows so proud of its legacy that it stops questioning its relevance. History is merciless toward this mindset. Past success creates blind spots faster than failure ever does. The enemy who saw the future. Outside the city stood a young Ottoman leader named Mehmed II. He was not impressed by Constantinople's walls. He was not intimidated by its history. He studied the city differently. He asked a question the Byzantines never asked themselves. What if the walls are no longer enough? Mehmed understood something revolutionary. Warfare had changed. Gunpowder had changed the rules. Cannons had changed the meaning of defense. While Constantinople relied on stone, Mehmed invested in fire. In today's world, this is the startup that sees technology before incumbents do. This is the new leader who understands cultural shifts, while established organizations dismiss them as trends. This is the competitor who studies where the world is going, instead of where it has been. Adaptation always looks like disrespect to tradition, until it wins. The refusal to adapt. Inside Constantinople, leaders debated endlessly. Some dismissed the cannons as crude toys. Others believed the walls would hold, just as they always had. Repairs were made, prayers were offered, ceremonies continued, and routines remained unchanged. The most dangerous sentence in leadership is this: "We have seen worse." Modern leaders repeat this sentence constantly. They ignore declining signals because collapse has not yet arrived. They dismiss new competitors because market share still looks strong. They ignore changing employee expectations because the old system still functions. But systems do not collapse all at once. They crack silently, one ignored signal at a time. The moment the walls failed. When the Ottoman cannons finally fired, the sound echoed across history. Stone that had stood for centuries began to fracture. The walls did not fall immediately. They cracked first. Repairs were rushed. Morale wavered. But still, leadership clung to denial. Then one section collapsed. That was the moment Constantinople truly fell. Not when the enemy entered, but when leaders realized too late that their defenses belonged to a different era. In modern organizations, this moment appears as sudden layoffs, lost market leadership, cultural breakdowns, or public scandals. Outsiders call it unexpected. Insiders know the truth. The collapse was visible long before it became public. Leadership failure is rarely sudden. It is cumulative blindness. The psychology of blind spots. Blind spots are not created by ignorance. They are created by confidence. The more success a leader experiences, the more selective their perception becomes. Contradictory information feels like noise. Dissent feels like disloyalty. Change feels unnecessary. Constantinople did not fall because it lacked intelligence. It fell because it trusted the wrong evidence. It trusted history over reality. Modern leaders do the same when they listen only to reports that confirm their beliefs. When they surround themselves with agreement instead of insight. When they reward loyalty over truth. Empires fall quietly when leaders stop asking uncomfortable questions. The city that could not change its mind. Even as breaches widened, Constantinople continued rituals as if continuity itself could stop collapse. Leaders prayed harder instead of adapting faster. They defended symbols instead of strategy. This is what happens when leaders confuse identity with rigidity. When changing feels like betrayal. When evolution feels like weakness. In the modern world, this is the organization that protects hierarchy instead of performance. This is the leader who values control over learning. This is the culture that preserves tradition at the cost of survival. Adaptation does not erase identity. It preserves it. The final breach. When Ottoman forces finally entered the city, the empire ended in a matter of hours. 1,000 years of dominance collapsed not because of inferior people, but because of outdated thinking. History remembers the fall as dramatic. But the real tragedy happened long before the gates opened. It happened when leaders ignored signals, dismissed innovation, and treated change as an enemy. The city did not fall in one day. It fell over decades of refusal. The modern leadership parallel. Today, empires look different. They are companies, institutions, careers, and reputations. But the mechanics of collapse remain unchanged. A business collapses when it ignores technology shifts. A leader collapses when they stop learning. A career collapses when comfort replaces curiosity. A culture collapses when feedback is punished instead of welcomed. Blind spots grow fastest at the top. The real lesson. Constantinople teaches us this brutal truth. Strength without adaptability becomes fragility. Tradition without evolution becomes a liability. Confidence without curiosity becomes collapse. Great leaders do not defend the past. They reinterpret it for the future. They do not ask what protected them before. They ask what will protect them next. The enemy is rarely outside the walls. The enemy is the belief that the walls are enough. Closing reflection. Empires fall when leaders stop listening. They collapse when leaders stop adapting. They disappear when leaders confuse permanence with power. The world always changes quietly at first. And then, all at once. Leadership is not about holding the line. Leadership is about knowing when the line no longer exists.